DJ Ferris.
It's Chicago, nigga.
It's the real one.
Hit me.
Only one is pulling shit the fuck up.
Look at the sports talk.
Look, the Chargers, Chris, they were almost the 1 seed in 2018. We talked earlier about that Ravens-Chargers playoff game. If the Chargers had beaten the Ravens on that Saturday night at home, they very well may have been the top seed. What a difference. You know, we saw how close it was this year for the 49ers and the Seahawks in the NFC. It was pretty close last year for the Chiefs and the Chargers in the AFC, and how different that season might have been, how different our perception of the Chargers would be right now. But, you know, even though they don't have Phillip Rivers, even though they don't have a big-time franchise quarterback right out of the gates, and you can hear the whole podcast at youtube.com/NBC Sports, wherever you can find your podcast, the full conversation available. You know, Tyrod Taylor, there's a lot of belief in Tyrod Taylor. This is one of those teams that I think is in a great spot. Nobody's going to be saying,
Yeah, they're still in a good spot because you still have a starting quarterback who made the playoff with Buffalo. He's a game-managed quarterback, so you're not missing a beat, really, without Phillip Rivers. Like, so you're not really starting over because you still have a good quarterback. Tyrod's a very solid quarterback for the Chargers. Y'all still have y'all weapons around him. Y'all still have Allen around him. Y'all still have Hunter around him. Y'all still have Williams around. So he's still got the weapons around him to be able to continue to be able to have this team contend for a championship, potentially, and make the playoff this season. Potentially be the second team to come out of the division behind the Chiefs. And y'all have a good defense. Bosa stay healthy. Ingram stay healthy. This defense be a big difference. James stay healthy also. So your three key players on that defense need to stay healthy. But other than that, y'all have a solid defense, have a solid team to be a good team this season.
Chargers are going to be pretty good this year, and that's one of those ways that teams like the Chargers sneak up on people.
Yeah, well, the AFC West, I think, has a couple of those teams. Really, all three teams other than the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, I think the Chargers and the Denver Broncos are two teams specifically to me that I have my eyes on. But the Chargers, yeah, I mean, again, we know how close they were in so many games last year that could have turned out different ways to where, you know, they could have been in the playoff conversation. Certainly, Phillip Rivers didn't have his best year. We know that. But I think they're trying to tell you they're trying to play a different style of football, a different brand this year. They're going to play through their defense and their run game more. Anthony Lynn's a run game expert. So I think with him and having a quarterback like Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. That's what I'm saying. Because he knows Tyrod is a game-managed quarterback. That's all he need him to do. They're going to roll with their defense. That's what type of coach he is. Lynn's going to run the football, manage the game, keep the game in reach, and play through his defense. That's what he's going to do because he know he have a good defense. That's why he ain't got to worry about so much because he know what type of quarterback he have. What hurt the Chargers last year was turnovers. With Tyrod, he going to limit that because how he managed the game. Yeah, he might not be your ideal quarterback to really have as your starter. Most guys want to take risks, and that's what type some coaches have. That's why he's not in Buffalo. Buffalo want to move to push the football down the field, but they like Tyrod because how he managed the game for them. And once they turn it over to Herbert, he gonna push the football down the field. But right now, they like Tyrod. They want someone to manage the football and keep it out of harm's way.
Taylor, who does take care of the football, but does have physical ability to make plays, that are off schedule. I think they're going to try to play that. And then, like Chris Harris Jr. said, there's just so much to excite you about this defense. And I think, they're going to take the approach a little bit maybe like we saw, the New England Patriots or the Broncos team of 2015. I was saying the Patriots of last year where They play through the defense and try to win games 23-17 or 20-14. And I think their team is built to do that, and they have a very good chance of doing it.
Yeah, and I agree. And Chris Harris Jr., look, this guy is a great story, undrafted, and part of the conversation included his experience in 2011, a lot like what guys are going through this year. He comes in as an undrafted free agent in an offseason with no offseason program because of the lockout, and he still makes the roster. And he ends up becoming one of the best nickel corners in all of football. He's not a big guy. He is incredibly skilled. And this is one of the, and that's why I'm surprised the Broncos let him get away, Chris, because this is one of the great success stories for John Elway. Finding Chris Harris Jr. and having that organization develop him into what he is, and now they see him leave for a team in the division. They're going to have to worry about him twice per year. He knows the personnel. He knows Drew Lock. He knows a lot about that team. And
that's why the main reason he went to the Chargers. To play against Denver for letting him walk out the door. So he wanted to stay in the division to show them why y'all let me walk out the door. And he know them from inside and out. He know Drew Lock. He know his weaknesses. So he going to use that to his advantage. So he know that team. So when he had to play them twice, he know them. That's a big advantage on his part.
I'm a little extra nervous about playing the Chargers if I'm a Broncos fan this year.
Yeah, well, I get that. There's certainly, I mean, the Broncos, we're excited about what they have on the offensive side of the ball, some of the young talent. I think that's one of those offenses that you and I both look at to go, watch out, everybody. It's going to explode on the NFL this year between the system and the players. But yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, Chris Harris Jr., experience, winning pedigree, and then still an incredible amount of talent and high-level play there to be had with Chris Harris Jr. Denver just felt like they probably couldn't pay him and deal with it, but that's a huge gain for the Chargers. But you break down the Chargers.
That's what I'm saying. When you don't pay a guy that want to be there, they feel like they can't pay him, the Chargers swoop on in. We can pay you what you want because you can help our defense a whole lot. We ought to have a good defense here. And you could be a solid guy here. That veteran present, that Super Bowl present. To show us the winning ways. He got so much to show Denver, y'all shouldn't let me walk. Y'all should do everything in your power to keep me here. But that's what happened. That what ended up happening when they feel like they can't pay you, but someone else will pay you, and that's what the Chargers did.
You sit here and go like, wow, they got Linval Joseph on the defensive line. They needed some help on the interior D tackle. We know they didn't need pass rushers. They got Kenneth Murray in the first round at linebacker. Holy cow. Derwin James, one of the second best safety in football to me, only behind Jamal Adams. You know, two good corners in Casey Hayward and Chris Harris Jr. I mean, that's unbelievable. They improved their offensive line, getting Brian Bulaga. They traded for Trey Turner with the Carolina Panthers. That was really their big concern on the offensive side of the ball, in my opinion. It's just, yeah, offensive line play has been below average the last few years with the Chargers. So I think they did a really good job of addressing some of the needs they needed to, you know, address and to take their team, you know, to, I don't want to say the next level, but certainly to improve them, to get them back in the playoff combo. And I would be shocked, Mike, if they're not in the playoff combo late December, sitting there last two.
They're going to be a playoff team this season. They might not go to the next level, but for sure that this team is going to get back to the playoffs. Because they have a quarterback to protect the football. No shade to Phillip Rivers. He was just a guy, he was just, at that time, would just put him in the harm's way. He wasn't protecting the football like he normally used. Now they have a quarterback that does that. But they fill in their holes. When you fill in them holes and get your needs, that tend to make a big difference for your team. Because last season, their offensive line was getting Phillip Rivers killed. Even though Phillip Rivers putting the football in harm's way, when he see the pass rush get in his face and he just throw it, now they fix the up front interior. That's what you have to do for a team. Offensive line is very important on the offensive side. Without an offensive line, your quarterback can't sit there and go through his whole progress. When he got an defensive lineman coming in his face, he have to throw the football earlier than he's expected. That's why you have to fix that. Because you can't have that. You want your quarterback to sit there and go through it and see what's there instead of seeing what's coming towards him, and he have to just go with the first read and just give it away. And that's what happened with Phillip Rivers last season. He seen it and he just throw it up there and hope for the best because he had them defense crashing down on him. But that's why they fixed that. They had a solid play up front to be able to allow their quarterback to go to their process.
3 games fighting for a spot.
Especially with 7 teams now per conference. And one last thing to keep in mind, Tyrod Taylor, 26-23 as a starter. Think about the teams that he has played for. Think about the teams he has started for, specifically those Buffalo teams. Think about the weapons he had at his disposal in Buffalo. Think about the weapons he'll have at his disposal with the Chargers.
Right.
Maybe now we know why they didn't pursue Cam Newton. Maybe we know now why they're willing to let Justin Herbert sit for a year or so. Maybe it's not going to be Tyrod Taylor just holding the spot until they think Herbert's ready to enter the fray.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure